Hey there. First of all, I just want to thank you all for your support, kind words, comments, wisdom, and love on the last video. Candidly, I was super overwhelmed with the outpouring, and I'm so grateful to each and every one of you. I started this channel to help others, and so it means a lot. I can't even describe how grateful I am. Speaking of grateful, I need to add one more lesson to the last video before I start up again with where we left off on the journey so many months ago, but it's an important one. I realized after I recorded the video that I'd been feeling hemmed in, a little like proverbial cage, if you will, and was frankly pouting about how much time had gone by and was wasted. And then all of a sudden it hit me how much of a brat I was being. It really made me think. There's so many people in the world that aren't as fortunate as me. They don't have food, they don't have a place to lay their head, are figuring out to help their kids. Anybody in the situation that I am, they'd be moving their kids for safety and help themselves at the same time. And here I was with food in my belly, a great place to lay my head, a safe sanctuary to recover, and I was bitching about it. I realized I definitely needed an immediate attitude adjustment, had a bit of self-reflection, said gratitude to the universe, and then focused on being in the present and sucking in all of the luxury that I was surrounded by. I always laugh because about 5 minutes later, after I had this reflection and did my gratitude, I got the tune, I got a new attitude playing in my head. I always feel like my angels and downloads are usually pretty spunky, so it made me laugh. I just had to share that. How there's always one more lesson to learn, and boy did I quickly adjust my ungrateful attitude, my little ungrateful brat. Still there, no matter how much work I do. As always, this video is for entertainment purposes only, so take what you'd like for my story of transformation and healing. Hopefully you'll walk away with something that helps you in your journey, whether it's a tactic, idea, or something else that just resonates with you. So without any more delays, let's talk about the next step in my journey. I know it's been a while, and it picks up on the last video before the Lessons of the Universe one. Being in Costa Rica continued to be an incredibly healing place for me. It always is. I decided I was really enjoying having some additional time for me to reflect, frankly, on me. I really realized how much work I had to do on my shadow side, my dark, what did I need to work on, and take radical ownership of every single decision that I had made that got me to this place. And I decided I really needed to do some automatic writing and tackle what Master Rebus had surfaced in a question to me. Why did I always self-sabotage? Why did I always feel like I needed to give to others, even if I wasn't protecting myself? Master Rebus had really made some strong statements about needing to fill my own cup before filling others. And so it's not something I could really wrap my head around and get the answer to it. And so I decided to try automatic journaling with the topic of what am I carrying that's not mine. It just came to me, that topic, when I was meditating, that I should do that in what you guys now know as I call my proverbial downloads. At this point, I really didn't know what automatic journaling was, although I'm sure I've heard the concept at some point. So I Googled it, came up with a plan, and hiked off to my favorite picnic bench on the edge of the ocean to do it. I decided 40 minutes of writing would be enough based on what I seen on Google. I knew the first 5 minutes of the writing would be anything I already knew, anything I was thinking about from my analytical mind. I promised myself that I'd just put pen to paper and keep writing until the timer went off, no matter what. So I put the header on the top and started writing. To be candid, I thought it would be super hard. And I thought that once I put pen to paper, I would just power through it and force myself. When I did it, it just flowed. I didn't think about anything. I just set the intention and let it come out of me onto the paper. For those of you who haven't tried this before, just know it's not something that I was looking forward to. I'm not someone who historically done journals at night. It's the only time I've really written in my life, besides school and work. I wrote poetry when I was younger, but that just kind of came to me. I didn't set about to write it. It just came into my head, usually at night, and I couldn't sleep before I got up and wrote it down. Anyway, I digress. After I was done, I just kind of sat there enjoying the ocean for about 15 minutes, as it seemingly took a lot of me, even though I had no clue what was on that piece of paper, as weird as it sounds. And then I decided to read it. And when I started reading it, I was totally floored. Well, I'm not going to go into any of the details about what it entailed, but what I will tell you is reading the automatic journaling made me realize that I literally, subconsciously, taken on responsibility for the world. As I am sharing this, I know you'll all be thinking, why could she possibly think that she was responsible for everything I'm about to tell you? But apparently, deep down in my subconscious, I had decided I was literally responsible for everyone in my life. My friends, my family, my clients, and even random strangers that I had run into that had shared intimate details of the challenges and their lives. I just have one of those faces where people tell me anything. I had proverbial taken on their responsibility without their knowledge, or even mine, for their welfare, their happiness, their challenge, you name it. Somewhere in my subconscious, I was holding space to hold up their proverbial boulders, that I call it, or rock. I was floored with what I read. No human could possibly shoulder every single one of these proverbial rocks that I was carrying, nor did I need to. And I wasn't responsible for carrying them. All of it was self-inflicted. I felt responsible for everything for some reason. No one else thought I was responsible, nor did they ask me to be. I'm sure that it started in my childhood with helping my mom, as she was quadriplegic. I knew she needed help, but again, she didn't even expect that. That was me putting it on me. It was so eye-opening when I was reading what I wrote. And once I got over the shock of it, it made me laugh. I remember talking to a close friend of mine roughly 6 months before who was in a rough period in her life. She was feeling responsible for her proverbial rocks that weren't hers and feeling guilty when she wasn't taking responsibility for solving them. I literally had her fill up a backpack full of rocks, go out in her dress in the driveway, and walk up and down in the driveway until she was super tired and sick of carrying that backpack full of rocks. Then I asked her to call me, and when she was done, so we could talk about it. She trusted me enough, God love her, she trusted me enough to be all in, even though I didn't tell her why she was doing crazy rock hauling in her driveway in her dress. When she came in exhausted from carrying the rocks, we talked about every time she was feeling guilty about not taking on someone else's rocks, to think about how she was feeling right then. I really wanted her to have a physical manifestation of what she was carrying other people's rocks. And as I reflected on this automatic journaling and was doing the laughing, I realized I'd been doing the exact same thing for years and completely missed it. And I vowed never to do that again, no matter how hard it was in the beginning to change my mindset and habit of just owning it naturally. I called the one person in my life that I've actually never felt responsible for and thanked them for it. I'm sure they were wondering what the hell I was talking about. And then I called the friend who did the backpack exercise and shared with her what I realized about myself too, and we had a good laugh about it. I'm not going to lie. Every day, it's still an automatic default for me. Every time someone shares a challenge, to try to grab their rock in my head and handle the rock. And then I think about the rocks and the backpack and imagine myself giving them back their own rocks. Now, just to be clear, that doesn't mean I don't try to help. It just means that I don't carry the weight of it with me. I help as much as I can, not only to be there for them, but to hold space. I do what I can do, but I no longer own it and carry it. So as I leave you with this video, I would ask that you reflect on your own proverbial rocks that you're carrying that aren't your own. And while you may not use the same methodology that I talked about, really challenge yourself to let go of some of those rocks. I promise you the load is way lighter. Until next time,